All right, we are back from the 2025 Borealis Psychedelic Science Summit in Stockholm. My name is Yoshi, and I'm joined now by Dr. Helena Aicher. Helena, welcome.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course, my pleasure. So we were just chatting before we started recording. You came in last night, so you missed the first part of the conference.
Yeah, I think it was a wonderful day yesterday, but we had a conference back in Switzerland the same day, so I'm rushing from...
Oh, wow, back-to-back conferences.
A little bit, yes.
Were you just a guest at the other conference or participant as well?
Host.
Host even?
Yeah, I mean, It was not a big conference, but a training day with lectures and stuff,
right.
Yeah.
So you had quite a busy planning period before this weekend, I imagine.
Yeah, it's intense lately, and I'm already looking forward to more like calm Christmas time, but It's also exciting. I mean, I like meeting people and exchanging ideas, and it's very motivating as well.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's good. That's good. Have you had a chance to enjoy some of the presentations today?
Oh, yeah. I just left the presentation on female health issues in the psychedelic space, which I think is super relevant. One of my favorite topics lately.
Yeah. Awesome. So many interesting talks here. Tell me a little bit about your background and how you got to working in the psychedelic field.
Yeah, how I got into this field. It basically was interesting to me already in my teenage years to think about cultures and why we're here and what's behind the stars. And somehow I got interested even in psychedelics, and I studied something else and decided that I'm going to leave that behind me and that I'm going to to study psychedelics through the path of psychotherapy or psychology. So I started studying psychology, and then after that, or already during my master's or even bachelor's, end of bachelor's, I joined Franz Vollenweider's lab. We did this meditation study, and from there started thinking about ayahuasca and how and what. And I became part of this group that we built up around ayahuasca-inspired formulations around Milan Scheidegger. And then I did my PhD on that. I was lucky to get a grant for that. And at the same time, I did my psychotherapy training and was involved in the Medical Society for Psychedelic Therapy in Switzerland, the SEPT. I have a broad background with research and also therapy, and more and more also teaching. And so these intersections are where I am at the moment.
Interesting. Seeing the field from many different perspectives then.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, also traveling a little bit. I think one of my key moments was 2016, the conference in Brazil, Acre, the ayahuasca conference, which was really a melting pot of the conflicts also. So you had the more indigenous cultures represented, and also the churches and the, let's say, Western scientists.
Right.
And the conflicts and tensions became tangible, and
wow,
I really liked that.
Interesting.
It became not that I wasn't aware of it, but to have it in one place and the different tensions at one place, that was interesting. You always think about these Western science and indigenous or but to have it all at one place was amazing. So I think I've seen a lot.
Yeah. What would be the main conflict lines between those two camps?
You have the thing about cultural appropriation and who has the rights to work with the substance, and you have the medical pathway, and even in the contemporary you have the medicalization versus legalization or decriminalization. Not that they're exclusive, but there are different pathways than the religious. And in the religious, like Santo Daime and related communities, there's also sometimes an understanding of being the original, but then there's again conflicts between the more traditional indigenous and then the traditional religious.
Right.
And and there's something beyond that unites us maybe all.
Yeah. You would imagine that, because obviously both camps are interested in the benefits of these compounds, these substances.
Yeah, one might think so.
One might think so.
I think as soon as money comes into play, it becomes a bit more complex.
Of course.
That's just, we're still human beings, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, money has a tendency to corrupt many things.
Yeah, and another key moment for me was another ayahuasca conference a few years later that was in, I think, Girona, Spain. Mm-hmm. And I came in with this idea of the tensions, as I said, between more contemporary Western research and the indigenous, And then I entered a room that was hosted by indigenous communities, and that specific track or lecture was held by the women, and they shared about their experiences in their cultures being a woman, and with the more patriarchal lines of shamanism and so on. And I suddenly realized, okay, they're dealing with maybe similar issues. So I felt very close to these women with the topics she brought up. And so this really was a shift in perspective. Right. Yeah, I think in the end we're all, it's a big puzzle and so many perspectives and ideas. And we're all somehow contributing to maybe a better understanding of whatever it means.
Yes. Interesting. So what are you currently working on? What's something you're excited about in your current work?
Maybe really the work with the patients, the therapy with the substances and beyond. This is, sometimes I'm lost in work and paper and computer and stuff. And then when you're in these sessions, or also in the time before or after, sometimes it's like a moment of, okay, this is why I'm doing it.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Sort of like also a grounding experience for myself to be there, supporting, holding space. Not that these experiences are easy. It's patients coming because they have all sorts of difficulties, but it gives a sense of, yes, this was what it was about. So this is something very fulfilling. And then what is also fulfilling is maybe the teaching part, or education, or sharing the experience with students or other therapists. So this sharing and also contributing so that others can learn more and learn from them again. So this is something fulfilling, but also like the research I'm excited about. I'm still wrapping up stuff that has been lying around too long and working on a few little things, more qualitative, also patient perspective. Right. Yeah. It's a broad...
I can imagine. In your clinical work, which substances, you mentioned that working with the patients and with the substances, which substances are you working with?
Mostly psilocybin and MDMA, and sometimes LSD.
And this is not in research. In Switzerland, you can already use it for treatment.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Okay. So psilocybin and MDMA.
Mostly, and sometimes, as I said, LSD.
And sometimes LSD as well. Okay.
Yeah, it's just much longer, so you have to adapt a little bit your days.
Your weekend.
Or weekend.
How does it work in Switzerland? I'm so used to the Swedish context now, and so many other people I've spoken to during these days, where it's research driven, and if you're going to be part of this study, you have to have tried a bunch of different therapies against, let's say, depression in the past, and they didn't work, and then you get to the treatment as part of a study with a substance like psilocybin. What is the process like over there in Switzerland? Who can come to your clinic? Who can get treatment with these substances?
It's a little bit similar. So you are a patient who has tried out many different things. It's not restricted to depression. So it can be any condition for which there's at least some sort of evidence that psychedelics might help. So you can't just do something. It needs to have a clinical rationale. But then, I mean, these substances are illegal also in Switzerland, but there's legal exemptions, or there's in the Narcotic Act a paragraph that allows to get a permission in specific cases, and then you basically can do the treatment. So
Okay, interesting.
And it's not a study, which is on the one hand good because it's clinical work, it's more real life maybe. On the other hand, we know a little bit less maybe about it, or not so systematized. And it sometimes I think it would be nice to have more systematic data on what we're actually doing. I mean, apparently it's safe enough, otherwise that would have stopped, because you have to report to the authorities.
Right.
And they would not allow it if it wasn't at least as safe as possible.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Interesting. Is this what you'll be talking about? Because you have a panel later today, right?
Yeah, so
Yes.
today morning I presented our research on DMT and harmine, which is more the basic research stuff, which I'm also very excited about. I mean,
tell me more about that.
I have my nerdy maybe perspective as well. But the afternoon talk will be on the therapy.
Okay. Yeah, tell me more about what you talked about this morning.
Just a series of studies we have done based on what I started our conversation with the ayahuasca-inspired process, where we thought, this is interesting, and does it translate somehow in our culture or not? And then we developed this DMT-harmine combination inspired by ayahuasca, but clearly not the same, of course. And
could you elaborate on what that is? DMT, I think many people listening are familiar with, but harmine maybe not as much.
It's a beta-carboline MAO inhibitor, and basically this is found in the ayahuasca wine, along many other beta-carbolines. And so ayahuasca is a mixture of many substances or molecules, and harmine is one of these, and it prevents the degradation of DMT in the body, so that you have the effects of the DMT.
Right. So it allows for oral digestion.
Yeah, exactly.
Without breaking down the DMT in the stomach. So it's
exactly. And we did a series of studies, dose finding and RCT, and dose finding of another formulation again, and many different measures, from psychometric stuff, drawing blood, analyzing them, having tasks. Yeah. So there's an evolution in a series of studies we did in Zurich.
Interesting. What have been some key findings from these studies?
It seems to work in different contexts. So we had individual settings in a more like living room, and we had also a group setting study. And it seems to be quite safe in both contexts, at least for our healthy participants. And then we have nicely experienced effects, things like emotional breakthrough, and like comparable to other psychedelics. We had much less so-called side effects compared to original ayahuasca brews, which might be controversial, because people in the ayahuasca scene say that the purging belongs to the healing mechanisms.
That's part of the experience.
Yeah,
they would
exactly.
Say. Yeah.
But we don't have that with our formulation, and it was also a goal to create something that does not have that, and that worked. And then we have some interesting PK findings, pharmacokinetically, with the different pathways of DMT metabolism. I mean, it's a very multi-method approach that we're using. Some more like straightforward, like the blood analysis, but also some creative stuff around painting or drawing tasks. And yeah, I mean, you can have a look at it. It's a variety. There's something for everyone, I'd say.
That is one of the very cool things about this research area.
It is.
It's so broad, and there's really like both the super scientific blood work, signal substance stuff, and then you have the spiritual, all of that creative stuff. It's super interesting.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is, I think, the most fascinating about psychedelics, that they are inherently interdisciplinary somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep going back and forth on the topic of DMT, like the actual experience of DMT, because so many people describe it as being taken somewhere, and it's a real place, and they're even trying to map it in the Imperial College in London. It could be that. I mean, it could be some kind of interdimensional travel, or it could all be just in your head having some kind of experience because the substance does something with the receptors. As someone who has worked with this a lot, which of the two camps are you in? Or something in between, or something third? I don't know.
I think we cannot say. We don't have means to decide that. What I've heard is that people criticize our work for being like taking away the magic or so by like extracting things and working with pure molecules. For me, also, if I had that perception of it's a molecule at in the brain creating these experiences, this is already magical enough for me.
Absolutely.
So I know about the inner experience of being connected in another world or whatever.
Right.
For me, it's not necessary to find this already magical. So I don't have a strong opinion on that, but I think there's a lot we don't know and many things we can't, and I think that's beautiful.
I agree.
I don't think we should. I mean, we should try to resolve these questions, but I'm confident we will not, and that's cool. Yeah,
I agree. And like you say, either way, it's magical. Either way, it's absolutely fantastic that we are a being that can experience this thing.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if it takes you somewhere or if it's just in your head, it's still mysterious, at least if people don't want to use the word magical. I like to use the word magical for these types of things. It's kind of crazy that it's possible.
Yeah. And I mean, sometimes I feel I have different hats on, the therapist hat or the neuroscience hat, but in a way, what unites these is maybe the curiosity for the phenomenon, and like also with the patients being open for whatever they experience, and like the curiosity about the experience. I think this is something that's maybe whichever hat I wear remains.
Yeah. Super interesting. Looking to the broader field of psychedelic research and science, what's going on in the world, is there anything else you would like to highlight, something that's exciting that you've seen in the psychedelic field in general?
There's a lot of exciting things. I think the tempo of developments, like lately, is just crazy. I mean, I don't know. I read the psychedelic alpha posts, and it's like each week, like so much to follow up on. Impossible. And I think it's interesting how the field has moved over the last 10, 15 years or more and it's now more about implementation, regulation. It was more about how to train, and even before it was on the clinical trials, and even before it was on the basic research trials, or it came from the underground. So like the evolution of the field is something super fascinating from an anthropological perspective, and who has the power of deciding what means what. In German, it's Deutungshoheit. Who has the decision power or interpretation power?
Right.
I think these dynamics are super interesting to experience. What I like to see is more and more like female health issues becoming more openly discussed, because clinically I see it's somehow relevant. I'm just fascinated by the speed, and wow, sometimes also a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to keep track of where all the current research is.
Yeah.
And
a lot of open questions, how and what, and I'm just very curious how that will all evolve.
Yeah. But it's fun to see it happening, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Tell people where we can find and follow your work.
Oh, it depends what you want to see. I think LinkedIn is something I try to become better at it. Sometimes I post things, or repost at least. LinkedIn.
All right.
Or you can also text me, and if I don't respond, just send me a reminder.
All right. Sounds good. Dr. Helena Aicher, thank you so much for sitting down and having a chat with me.
Yeah, thanks for inviting. It was a fun conversation.
My pleasure. And thanks to everyone for tuning in. My name is Yoshi from the Borealis Psychedelic Science Summit. Catch you next time.